Happy Breakdown Monday. Excuse me. Happy Breakdown Monday, people. Happy Breakdown Monday. Caring relationships. Caring relationships. Why do we, as people, mess up relationships? Do we even know why? Well, sometimes we mess up relationships because nobody ever taught us how to be in the relationship. And I'm not talking about woman and man only. I'm just talking about friends, family, uh, work relationships between employee, employer, what have you. Neighbor. We tend to uh, think less of relationships when it comes to outside people, because they're not family. But as a believer, everybody is a part of God's family, and we don't look at it that way. And the reason why we don't look at it that way, because this world has become selfish. And Paul is teaching us in First Thessalonians, second chapter, the 7th verse to the 12th verse, that as believers, we need to have caring relationships. We need to be real in relationships. And most of the time, we are so far from that. So far from that. Um, People have their own personal agenda when it comes down to relationships. That's why they fail. That's why they fail. And that's why the first relationship you're supposed to have is with Christ. We don't have a relationship with Him. So, how can we have a relationship with others? Because we treat others like we treat Christ, half-heartedly, not wholeheartedly. But let me show you what Paul did, right? Let me show you what Paul did. I want you to go to First Thessalonians, second chapter, starting at the 7th verse. This is going to put some enlightenment on what I'm talking about. In verse 7, it says, "But we were gentle among you, even as a nurse cherished her children." Gentle, right? Gentle is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Gentleness. Gentleness, humble, calm, non-threatening. Now, most men have a problem with this. Most men. Gentleness is a humble, non-threatening demeanor that derives from a position of strength and authority, and is useful in calming another's anger. Gentleness is not a quality that is weak and passive. This is why most men can't have good relationships with others, with other men. And they tend to damage or, how can I say this, sabotage a good relationship by being what they think they should be with each other. Think back when you was a kid, and I'm talking about you men. Think back when you was a kid. You had a friend. You was gentle with that friend because you wanted to be accepted. Well, in this day and time, we don't necessarily need to be accepted or want to be accepted, but at the end of the day, you have to accept them. So it switched. And so now we want to accept them. We want to change them for our benefit, right? So caring, everybody know what caring is. Caring is about love, right? Love seeks the highest good of others. Love is not based on emotions or feelings. We based our caring and our love based on emotions and feelings. That's not love. It is a decision to be committed to the well-being of others without any conditions or circumstances. Just like a nurse to her child. It refers to a mother feeding her child. We tend not to want to feed one another. We want to eat. And that's why we have so much problems in the church, on our jobs, at our home, because we tend to want what we want. Now, when it comes to women, it's a flip side to that. Now, women are more masculine, and they think they have to be more masculine in these days than ever. Until somebody pull a card. And what that means is, if you want to be a man, be a man. But that's not what God intended. Everything that's going on right now is not what God intended, because people are taught differently now. They went through so much damage in their minds and their bodies, went through so much trauma, and so they feel that they have to be this way. But with Christ, you don't. You just got to know how to navigate what you're supposed to be doing, right? And the only way you can navigate that is be in spirit and in truth. Because you got to be able to discern whether you need to give or not. So people don't have discernment because they've been taught to think this way. In the church, they teach y'all to think negative. You think they don't? They teach us everybody on the outside of them church walls are out to get you. You think they don't? Look at it. Paul didn't teach that. Look at verse 8. He said, so being affectionately desirous of you, we were willing to have in part unto you, not the gospel of God only, but also our own souls, because ye were dear unto us. They gave their souls to the Thessalonians. The Thessalonians knew what they went through. They heard. They know they was beaten in Philippi. They know they was jailed in Philippi. They know they was kicked out of Philippi. But yet, these men of valor, of God, teaching the gospel of God, gave their souls. See, we have to be more giving. We say we give, but the thing is, we giving money, material things. They gave their soul. Paul gave his soul so that these people will know the gospel of God and know true, caring love. Verse 9, it says, for ye remember, brethren, our labor and travail, for laboring night and day, because we would not be chargeable unto any of you. We preached unto you the gospel of God. They didn't want to get in trouble with God. not doing what they're supposed to do. But we don't look at God when we do the things that we do. We look at the people repaying us for what we do. We have a personal agenda in all relationships now. If you can't give me nothing, I don't want you. If you can't make me happy, I don't want you. Is that a caring relationship? Yes, you're supposed to get something out of a relationship. Yes. But you're supposed to give to that relationship until you can't give no more. And that's where we fail at. Nobody's giving. Everybody's taking and taking and taking and taking. That's why you go to church looking for blessings, material blessings, and not happiness. Blessing mean blessed means happy. But they don't tell us that in the church. Why? Because they want to be blessed with material things. So they have to make sure that you look at those material things as well. So they may receive them material things that you receive. Do that make sense? It makes sense to them. It makes sense to them. But let me ask you a question. Have God put his hand down into the roof of your house without tearing it up and say, let me get $50. Let me get 100. He don't do that. He just wants you. He just wants you. But we can't give ourselves to him because we can't see him. So we give our things and our possessions to man. We can see them. We can reap the benefits off of them. Maybe, maybe not. But it's a chance that we're going to take. Stop taking that chance. You're going to be heartbroken. You'll have a whole bunch of church hurt and looking crazy. Paul didn't do that to the Thessalonians. Look at verse 10. It says, ye are witnesses, and God also, how holy and justly, unblamely we behave ourselves among you that believe. Now, three major qualities in believing, living that you need to have. You need to be holy. Holy in reference to God, not to them, not to man, but you need to be holy in reference to God. 2, justly. You need to be just in reference to man. A lot of people are not just in reference to each other. The reason why is because we're looking for something. And so when we don't get it, or say we do get it, we still got a personal agenda. You know how many friendships people and myself have lost because they had a personal agenda and they was looking for something in return. And then when they didn't get it, or they thought that, hey, they supposed to give it because you gave something, but they already got paid back with the blessings of God. They didn't look at that. They looked at you. And so once they didn't get it, they stopped befriending you. They stopped the relationship. It's because they had a private agenda. You have to let them go. Let them go. It is what it is. But if you've done that, if you stop befriending somebody just because you didn't reap any benefits out of the relationship and you jumped the gun, then that's on you. And that's what we do in this day and time. We jump the gun. We always trying to receive and not trying to give. That's why you have to pay attention to knowing, having the discernment. So if you're not in spirit and in truth, and you're going through suffering, you're going to be looking for something from them because you're suffering. And that's natural. But if you condition yourself to be that way, then it's unnatural. And what I mean by condition yourself, let me see what I can get. Let me see what they got for me. That's your thinking. Our thinking is to get something out of it. That's why a lot of women right now, they want men to take them to the fancy restaurants and see what type of money they making, what type of job they got, so they can reap the benefits out of it. They don't want to put nothing in it. And you got very few men the same way. That's why a lot of men right now are asking women, what do you bring to the table? And women are offended by it because they set that playing field. So now men got to capitalize on it and say, what you bring to the table? Well, you're not bringing enough. I don't think this will work out. And now they get mad. This is what it's all about now. People are not having caring relationships. People are getting together in relationships because of stature, position, and money, wealth. Wrong reasons. So the last one is unblamely. Unblameable in reference to life and conduct before God and man. A lot of people's conduct are messed up. They be talking about behind your back and all of that. You be talking about them behind their back. Everybody, a lot of people's conduct is so screwed up. If you say that I'm your friend or you're a friend of this person, then mean that. Be that. See, the same way we treat God is the same way we treat relationships. Always remember that. Because God is higher than any man or woman on this earth. So therefore, what's happening? We're going to treat people like we treat God. So if we treat God in a negative way or in a positive way, we're going to repeat that on earth. Look at verse 11 of 1 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter. It says, as ye know how we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father doeth his children, that ye would walk worthy of God, who has called you unto his kingdom and glory. So, 3 kinds of ministries as a believer. Exhortation. Exhortation is encouraging others to commendable conduct. Encouraging others to commendable conduct. That's all it is. Our conduct is messed up. Comforting. Everybody know what comforting is. You got to be able to comfort someone in the time of need or not in the time of need. You have to be self-sacrificing. And we're not self-sacrificing. We don't sacrifice ourselves for our family. Scratch that. We don't even sacrifice ourselves for Christ like he sacrificed himself for us. Therefore, we don't sacrifice ourselves for our family, friends, work, neighbors, none of that. We always looking for a return. And God will grant you that return in due time. Now, the last one is charging. Testifying to or strictly charging to righteousness. That's giving people direction. Are you giving people direction honestly without being gentle, without being hostile? You have to be gentle with giving direction, especially grown folk. You got to be gentle with them, especially these teenagers now. They didn't go through what we went through. I'm 48 years old, and shoot, I don't walked all over Pine Bluff. The only thing Mama told me, come home before the street lights come on. I done been through a lot of crap at a young age. Been in the car without seatbelt, all that. Now, these children now, they're much sensitive than we were. They're not strong. So you have to be able to be strong. You understand? For them. But teach them in a sensitive way. That's how people are right now. People right now are suffering. They're very sensitive. They're very sensitive. So we have to be sensitive for them. We have to be gentle. Let me tell you what Jesus said about gentleness, about caring. Jesus said, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. That is John 15:9. So Jesus was very caring. Well, I can hear you say, well, I'm not Jesus. Well, guess what? You sure not. I'm not either. But we got to be like Jesus. When it comes to gentleness, Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Matthew 11:29. So he's gentle. Why can't we? Let me tell you something, man. In the past 2 months, I've learned how to be gentle. I learned how to be angry. I learned how to fight. I learned how to do a lot of things, but also I learned how to give. I learned how to give till it hurts myself and everything else I have. So look, people, try to have a caring relationship and start with your relationship with Christ. So I love y'all. May the grace and the peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen.